Topkats Pride, bringing to you the unusual but factual and oftentimes ignored and controversial wild news, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. And now, your wild news reporter, Pate. Welcome to the Wild News Report. My name is Otis Pate. Now, before I get started, the first thing I want to say is that this article that I'm sharing with you, I have to apologize right off the top because I've been wanting to share this article with the Topkats Pride for a long time. But it's a bit difficult to keep up with all of the things that I actually collect in my archives to share with you. But here we go. This article is about the USA and freaky facts that'll shock you. Well, perhaps it won't, but I think it will shock at least 85% of the United States population. From my man, Greg Loucks. And Greg Loucks, last name spelled Loucks, can be put into your favorite search engine, and you can find more research from him, as well as this article was something that was provided to the public some years ago by my other confidant, my other mentor in information, Mr. Jeff Rentz. Also, this information has been provided by many others, so check out this information in detail, and there's much more information just like this concerning our country that can be found on the web, which is truthful and something that you must know. The USA, freaky facts that'll shock you. Well, what type of freaky facts? Number one, the I.R.S. is not a U.S. government agency. It is an agency of the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund. And all of this information can be found at the link that I will leave in the description box for you. And you can go and check all of this out yourself. These are actual laws and statutes that you can rest assured are on the books, are actual laws, are actual facts. Number one was the I.R.S. is not a U.S. government agency. It is an agency of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Number two, the IMF is an agency of the UN, the United Nations, and that's according to the Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 816. Number three, the United States has not had a treasury since 1921. And again, you can find all of this information at the link that I will leave you, which has other links that can take you to the actual statutes and laws. Check the description information box. Number four, the U.S. Treasury is now the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Number five, the United States does not have any employees because there is no longer a United States. No more reorganizations. After 200 years of bankruptcy, it is finally over. Number six, the FCC, CIA, FBI, NASA, and all of the other alphabet gangs were never part of the U.S. government, even though the U.S. government held stock in the agencies. Number seven, Social Security numbers are issued by the UN, the United Nations, through the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Number seven, Social Security numbers are issued by the United Nations through the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. The application for a Social Security number is the SS5 form. The Department of the Treasury issues the SS5 forms, not the Social Security Administration. The new SS forms do not state who publishes them, while the old form states they are Department of the Treasury. Number 8, there are no judicial courts in America and have not been since 1789. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. Number 9, there have not been any judges in America since 1789. There have just been administrators. Number 10, according to GATT, which is an acronym for the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, you must have a Social Security number. Number 11, New York City is defined in federal regulations as the United Nations. Rudolph Giuliani stated on C-SPAN that New York City is the capital of the world, quote unquote. Number 12, Social Security is not insurance or a contract, nor is there a trust fund. Number 13, your Social Security check comes directly from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which is an agency of the United Nations. 14, you own no property. Slaves can't own property. Read carefully the deed to the property you think is yours. We are listed as a tenant. Number 15, the most powerful court in America is not the United States Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Number 16, the King of England financially backed both sides of the American Revolutionary War. 17, you cannot use the United States Constitution to defend yourself because you are not a party to it. Number 18, America is a British colony. The United States is a corporation and not a landmass, and it has existed before the Revolutionary War, and British troops did not leave until 1796. Number 19, Britain is owned by the Vatican. 20, the Pope can abolish any law in the United States. Number 21, a 1040 tax form is for tribute paid to Britain. Number 22, the Pope claims to own the entire planet through the laws of conquest and discovery. Number 23, the Pope has ordered the genocide and enslavement of millions of people. 24, the Pope's laws are obligatory on everyone. Number 25, we are slaves and own absolutely nothing, not even what we think are our children. 26, military dictator George Washington divided up the states, or also called the estates, E-S-T-A-T-E-S, into districts. Number 27, the people, quote unquote, does not include you and me. Number 28, it is not the duty of the police to protect you or me. Their job is to protect the corporation and arrest code breakers. Number 29, everything in the United States, quote unquote, is up for sale. That means bridges, roads, water, schools, hospitals, prisons, airports, etc., etc., etc. And by the way, did anybody take time to check out who bought Klamath Lake? Number 30, we are human capital, according to the government and Executive Order 13037. Number 31, and finally, the UN, also known as the United Nations, has financed the operations of the United States government for over 50 years. U.S. Department of Treasury is part of the UN and now owns every man, woman, and child in America. And by the way, these documents and this information is not secret. It is not covert. It is not occult. They are a matter of public record. And if you have gone to the same public schools that I have in the United States, then you know that all of this has not been taught. Well, I should say at least 90 to 95% hasn't been taught. Even in most colleges, this is not taught. In the information description box will be a link to this site, and I would also like to encourage you to look yourself by putting this information into your favorite search engine, etc. My name is Otis Q. Pate, here for the Topkats Pride and the Topkats Rebel Connection. Thank you for joining me.